In this video help, I'm going to be covering the inventory screen. Recall when I talked about this earlier that the second thing after doing the customer entry is to add the inventory. Inventories are product descriptions by the store. What you're going to do after you get the products in is you're going to cut an initial inventory purchase order where you do a walk-around inventory. As you do a walk-around inventory and account for all the products that you have in your business, it's going to load all those quantities back into the inventory. Let's go ahead and look at that and see how that works. In this screen on the inventory information, you're going to see the actual item that was entered, and this is done when you create a new record and add this particular item. Now you can use a UPC or a narrative name if you do not have a barcode or UPC or stock item number. You would enter next the actual product name. If you do not have a part number for it, you can use the product name in here and also as the product name. This would be the lookup and called the code, and it also would be the name if you did not have a barcode or UPC. Now on this screen, the first thing you're going to do after you create the new record is you're going to assign the product based on the store that you're doing the inventory for. If you're going to add it to a particular store, you would pick the store from the drop down. In this case, there's 3 stores, sample stores in the app right now. As you pick that, it's going to put the location of the store at the top of the screen. It's also going to, as you add a new record, it's going to enter the next ID number in sequence for the product inventory item you're adding. If you're on the browser, you're going to have to commit the record or revert it if you don't want to save the changes, as we talked about in each screen. There are some buttons at the top that allow you to go to the store location, the customer and sales screens. There's also a list view screen for the products that are being listed. You can access directly the purchase screen if you need to. And there are a series of reports down here on this side of the screen: the inventory by store report, the low inventory report, the inventory price lookup, and the restricted manager cash report for cash register information. This is only for the managers, so do not click this button if you have a general user log on. Now that we're on this screen and we've created a new record, you can do a search if you need to find a particular product, or you can cycle through the screens by using the plus and minus, which is forward and reverse as far as looking at records. If you're doing the find, you can put the information either in for the product code or the name or even the ID of the item if you know that. Then do the perform find to show that record. After you've done the perform find and looked at the records you want to review by cycling through them, show all records again so that you open all the records for all the rest of the users. Now let's cover the actual items on the screen down here under the product. The product code was obviously the first one, which can be brought in by importing an Excel or a CSV file and loading the entire product inventory in here if you have a listing of that kind. It will automatically add to this combo screen information down here, which is shown when you do an invoice. On the invoice line, you're going to see the UPC or barcode or name. You're going to see the product ID and the name of it, the store that it's originated to, and the price. The store is kind of important because if you have multiple stores, you can be looking at somebody else's inventory for stocking items if you do not have the store indicated and also have it shown down here by the store. This would be the standard price you're selling the item at through all the stores. There's a high level that you want to say for the inventory for this store, how much you're going to have on hand, and the low level here. When you see something like you see here where it says on hand -5, that indicates that somebody has done an invoice and put a demand on zero inventory where 5 quantity items were needed and not available. We're going to talk about how to do the product information for looking up in other stores when we're getting done here. If you have a purchase order where you fed purchases in of inventory coming into the store, it will add to the quantity in this screen based on the store, based on the product that you're actually bringing in. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the purchase screen. This is the purchase status tab, and in the status tab, what it's going to do is every time a purchase is made against this product by the store, it's going to put that information in here. It's going to show you the quantity that was received and the sum of the cost of the inventory. You can use this button when there is a purchase in there to go to the purchase screen to see that particular information. And this says product purchase history. You do not have to enter this information. It's all done by the product purchases when you're made, and then it reflects back from the purchase screen. Product information is a little bit more detail about this particular item, including a picture of the object item, the product type, so you can do a search on it by type if you want to, and a product shelf life, weight, length, cost for shipping per pound, a little bit of narrative about the product if you want, plus a user-defined set of fields where you can add your own specific title and input field to describe more about this product and other criteria about it. This stays with that product for that particular store for this record. Now let's talk about the actual entry of data. What you would do in here is that you would, as you add information in this screen, it will automatically add all the invoice purchases made against this item for this screen. This is automatically made as an invoice is added. Now when we saw this level up here, we saw that there were 5 minus. Well, there's 2 invoices in here, one showing a quantity of 1 and one quantity of 4, and the actual transaction. If you click on this button, it will take you to that invoice so you can see that particular invoice's information. So if you had to make a change or you had to update that particular invoice, you could click here to go to that invoice. The summary of the total amount of this product sold for this store is indicated at the bottom. The sum of the tax for that item and the sum of all sales for that item for that store is listed in here. Now, once again, you do not have to enter this information. Is added as an invoice is created. If you have any other information or requirements as far as adding notes, you can use the product information to add them about this particular thing to include if you have an outstanding amount and you need to make a purchase. Now, obviously, on the purchased by a low-level report, it will indicate that you have an issue. This will not happen on the browser as far as the colorization, but it will show the minus on hand, indicating when you run this report that you need to purchase some more items. I will cover this later. I'll come back to this, which is the Manager's Cost Management Restricted Area Managed Report. This is only for manager level people. And if you go to this screen, you're going to have some issues if you do not have that password. You're going to have to come back up and use the drop-down list if it's on the iPad at the bottom of the screen to change screens, or it's going to lock you in that screen until you do that. So and you're not going to be able to see any data as far as the actual data that's on that screen. It'll all be blanked out. Okay, this is completes this particular screen. There will be more information as far as the reports and the manager's cashier report. Thank you.